Okay, so this is a continuation from where I last left off. And basically, see the settings for the sound, music settings, main menu, progress loss. Well, since this is a demo, you can't like really decrease the. Maybe you can. Wait, let me go. Sound, camera input. Yeah, you can. Okay, so basically, from the last video, back. Okay, settings. So basically, um, I have no idea what this game is about past the first 10 minutes. All I know is it's an exploration game. It's under the ocean, and apparently the world came to an end. What world came to an end, I don't know. What I do know is that there are two sections in this game. One apparently is a teleporter that takes you to a place in space, to a room in space that has a bunch of library books and so on and so forth. The next is here in this water, teleports you back to the water place, water world. And apparently the world came to an end, and it's up to your character in order to decide what god he would side with, or she would side with, or it would side with, because I believe I'm a fish, in order to create this world, which is kind of strange that a fish or whatever life form I've taken on will decide the fate of a universe to be created, or a world that's already present to continue to develop and become a world. Because apparently, even though I'm here, even though there's water, there's rocks and all these things, these are things that exist and present. And depending on this location, wherever I am, these might actually be rock formations and glacial formations left after the destruction of a world. So these might just be things floating in space that just happen to have some type of gravity attached to them, keeping them in place. Whereas anything that has a certain type of oxygen rate will probably die. But things that have in lesser forms that could live in water and low oxygen rate or high dense oxygen rate, um, due to lack of gravity, won't be able to survive. So I'm assuming this is basically the land of whatever was destroyed, or this is just a place that's located, that was created within the entire cosmos, but it doesn't have an official developed land yet. So some world came to an end, and it's up to us to create that world. So our character possibly was part of that world and got reborn as a fish, or as part of the whole deal with recreating life. First has to be processed through lesser life forms, and then through that process, the consciousness of who the person was can now go back into their original bodies. So, because this person obviously knows that they never used to be a fish, or they never used to exist. They just know that this is all strange. And this character was told by an eel that they were reborn. So they're aware that something happened, and they're aware that you're now in a different life form. So they're aware that they used to be a different life form, but they don't know how they became into this life form. So that's the mystery of this game. It starts you out at the very beginning, where you're in a library that's in space, and then all of a sudden, cut to black, you're in underwater, and you're told to recreate the universe through various different gods, whichever god you want to side with. So there's a lot going on that you don't know. Um, you don't know if you're on a planet. You don't even know if you're on an asteroid. You don't even know if you're in reality or in a pocket dimension. What you do know is that a world ended due to advancement of technology and so on and so forth. And you have to recreate either your world that ended, or a world that ended. So that's where I am right now. So far, the graphics in this game aren't that good because it's low resolution and probably due to budgetary reasons. The movement in this game is adequate with regards to the type of environment that you're going to be traveling through, the water. So it's basically more on up and down with the R and right pad, R and right button for up and down. And to move through areas much faster, you boost by R2, and to sonar to pick up sonars to indicate where people are, where dangers are, and the X for interacting buttons. And of course, teleportation, and to find various different items and pages, you press square. So very simple tutorial and very simple beginnings of the game. Of course, if this was the official game, it would give you a hell of a lot more. But since this is a demo, all these things will be locked into the demo until you get further into the game. So far, as a game that anyone could play, it's easily a game that anyone could play. So I'm already giving it 0.1 for that, and I'm already giving it another point for an interesting mystery going on within the story that I don't know about yet. And I'm giving it another point for movement of characters and movement of objects and the up and down buttons, how things work. Then I give it another point. Basically, I gave it like 10 points already. So I'm already at a 6. With regards to interacting with various different creatures, eels, fish. So the interactive buttons, they work. The movement speed works. Characters in the game are very simple, simple to understand. Movement is very simple to understand. The sonar is simple to understand. It's easy to manage and easy to detect things. And getting from place to place, since you have the boost, allows you to go through the water pretty fast. And plus there's teleportation if you don't want to stay in one place. So press the square button and it will allow you to teleport to a location that you were previously allowed to before. So the only teleportation location I've unlocked so far is the eel that I met at the beginning. And yeah, so that's what's going on in this game. So the graphics, like I said, aren't that great, but due to the budget, I wasn't expecting it because I know this is a low budget indie game. So that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But everything runs smooth. That's why I got it at a full 6 already. Everything is running smooth. There's no glitches. There's nothing difficult to figure out. It's all there within the menu, within the settings. You R1, L1 to go back and forth to switch things. So for a simple distributed game and a simply made game, a simply polygon design game, everything's pretty much average at best, simply because of what's been offered and what's been shown. So it's very much average game so far. But the mystery is what's hooking me. The mystery is probably what's going on. How could you create a world? from this mystic ocean, because it is mystic. Um, so far, so good with regards to this game. I gotta remember where I was before, where I first started off. I'm gonna go to Moss Caverns back, and then if this is not the location, I'm gonna go to, I think Coral Reef is where I started. Kelp Forest, I haven't been here yet, so I'll go back here, and I'll continue the story back here. So far, it's okay game. It's not a lot of detail, so I'll keep it at a standard 6. There's no bugs, there's none of that stuff. No problems or issues or confusions. And there's another thing. Every now and again, throughout this game, there are portals that allow you to go from the ocean depths to this library that's located in space. It's very strange. I'm not sure exactly what that's supposed to mean and why there are various portals at different places. But those portals don't reappear after you go through the story. They're kind of a one-time thing. They're simply part of the story to progress and to allow you to find collectibles, I believe. Part of the mystery of you unlocking the mystery of what's going on. So it's very much a story-based game, a lore-based game, and an adventure, an exploration, story slash exploration game. The music is also very good, so I might as well just give it a point for that as well. So I'm at a 6.1 right now with regards to this game. It's very good so far. And the music was actually, now I think about it, the music is what's really hooking me more than even the mystery itself. Because it works very well with regards to the mystery itself and to the ocean depths and to the nature of exploration, the type of music. So I think I'll give it a 6.2 simply for the music itself. there's also very heavy religious connotations in here, and esoteric connotations in here, dealing primarily with the creation of time and the creation of the world. How man, or if this is not about men, it's about other creatures, kind of follow the same solution or the same situation. Um, mortals mortals don't have to be humans, but anything that constitute as mortal um, developed too fast, did things too freely, simply because the gods gave them free will, and now punishment has to be delivered to those who are going too free and disrupting um, progress of other things as well due to such freedoms. However, this assistant to the god says that this type of sacrifice um, to their happiness, their personal freedom, will either lead towards um, discomfort amongst them. And basically, this assistant basically said God won't mind, the creator won't mind, doesn't seem to mind. So if the creator doesn't seem to mind, if the creator believes in more in the balance of things rather than people being completely free, to keep them regulated to a certain degree so they don't get out of hand, which in certain sense makes sense. But why offer the freedom completely from the very beginning? I guess it was more like an experimentation before anything, but a sense of experimentation needs to be regulated to a certain degree. At least that's what it's basically saying. So maybe the people that created this game see human beings or mortal life as part of big experimentation, or something like that, or maybe simply uh, a need to regulate in order to keep things in check. It's like trying to ask the question of why God do things the way God does. Be like, yeah, I'm not gonna ask those questions. They could try in this game, but I'm not doing it. So, after you finish looking up at the stars, or after you finish unlocking one of those keys, you're then teleported back to the location they originally were. Um, and yeah, and then it goes away, um, and that's that. You never see it again. Another thing I gotta say with regards to the game, it does a good job in creating a type of environment where different plant life and different sea life explain to you a little aspect of themselves. For instance, this is related to a lot of coral life forms that eat um, like fishes or no, not really fish, like worms or other smaller type of life forms, or more like I would say bread, bread and things. Things that are compounds, not actually flesh. So yeah, I like the idea that they implemented those things into the game as well. It feels very much like a game that's meant for anyone to play, like for anyone and everyone to play. So little children could play it and enjoy it, and it'll be very comforting. But that all depends on exactly what is being shown in the game in total. So if it gets a little too wacky or wonky, um, it might not be for children as well. But so far, so good. Yeah, there are also a lot of sea creatures that camouflage as objects. Yeah, I like the idea of what's going. Um, this game feels very much like you're on some type of asteroid. It just happens to have a lot of water around it. It feels very much like a planet used to be here and it's no longer. Or this is a planet or it's a section of a planet. Not sure yet. Ah, and these are one of the gods. So I don't know too much about the gods, but I do know that there are several of them. How they could create worlds is yet to be explained. How they have such a power to do such a thing. Because building something is one thing, but creating a world, that's something that's entirely different. We're talking about gravity, we're talking about mass, we're talking about a whole world, lands, sea, sky, clouds, vegetation, land animals, sea life, the whole shebang, planets. Well, maybe not a solar system, but a world itself, sustained within cosmic gravity as well as solar gravity. I'm curious to know how these creatures, these gods, could do all that, or who they are, where they came from to begin with. So far, there's nothing really aspiring about the game um, that you would want to purchase it. I don't see anything really that intriguing so far. About the only thing intriguing about the game is the mystery. That's about all I could see that's intriguing about the game, that's pushing me to know more. Everything else is about average or meh at best. The story is what's holding me, and the mystery of the story is what's holding me. Nothing else. So another thing with regards to the game that these gods, they don't know that they're gods. They just think that they're creatures that live standard life, so on and so forth. Um, as I've been told that they are supposed to create a world based on the decisions that you're also making. So um, eventually, I mean, if they are told that they are gods or they discover that they are gods, things might not go the way you want them to. It's like they have to figure that out for themselves. So this feels very much like a game that someone would play to not only to kill time but also kind of like a distraction. It feels very much like a journey, an overall story, an exploration overall story more than anything, rather than doing activities to prevent or to accept something. I mean, you're doing an activity to do something, but it feels very much like a journey through an epic story or just a story more than anything else, rather than doing miscellaneous activities or leveling up gears and all this. So beyond that, I don't see that there's much the game offers unless stories is what you're into. Story games, what you're into. So I'll go just one more place and then I'll call it a day on this. Like as an overall game, overall exploration game slash story game, I would say it's about average. It's not better than game like a story game like Journey. It's not better than that, and it's not at the level at something like Horizon Zero Dawn or like Zelda. It's very much very far below that, but it does have very interesting qualities about it. So it's done well. The best part of the game is that it's done well. It doesn't have a lot of bugs in or a lot of issues. That's six. The other aspects of the game are various different nuggets and trinkets are spread throughout the game, such as the mystery of what's going on, the gods, so on and so forth, the environment, the locations, and the music. So right now, I would say I would be like anywhere at a 6.3, 6.3, 6. Yeah, about a 6.3, a solid 6.3 right now, based on the demo itself. So I think this is meant for primarily for anywhere from children to young adults. It's not really meant for adults, unless it's meant for everyone, as in anyone of any age can play it simply to enjoy the experience. That in itself is, I would say, is true and it's honest. So it gives you that wholesome, everyone can play it. So like say if you want to distract your children from something, you could have them just play and interact with the world. But I would recommend someone going through the entire game first to see what's present in there, because there are certain things that a child's mind would not be able to deal with, where a teenager's mind can deal with. So to a certain level, a certain degree, what age range will this game fall under? So based on anything, I would say this game anywhere from 12 years old and up could deal with this game based on what I've seen. Anyone like 8 years and under, maybe in 10 years and under. No, I would say anywhere from a child from 1 to about 5 years old shouldn't play the game, but a child that's from 8 years going up, this will feel like something that they could play. It makes sense. I think 1 year olds to about 7 year olds still won't understand what the hell's going on, and it will confuse them. But a child around 8 years old to about 10 might be able to get it faster than someone that's from 1 to 5 year olds. So I say, yeah, this is about something that's a game that can meant for a 10-year-old, 8 year old, 8 to 10 year old to play, to understand. But that's based on what I'm seeing in the demo so far. If it gets more iffy and questionable going into the game based on the violent nature of it, or if there's no violent nature in it, or questionable philosophical reasons and political reasons and so on and so forth, then it's fine for children as well as for adults. But so far, nothing give off that atmosphere of that's what's happening. Feels very much like a game that anyone can play of any age, except maybe those from 1 to 5 year old. They might just not, based on their brain pan, understand what's going on in regards to the story itself. Someone might have to explain it to them, like reading a book story to a child. So I think I might end it here. It's not much that was offered since the first video and this video, and or what I can do is I can go to the various different locations. I went to Moss Cave, went to Eel Kingdom, Kelp. So what I'll do is I'll go back to Eel Kingdom. But it's telling me on this my teleporter, my illustration, I should go to this location, as in this beeping location. Well, maybe that's just me. There's only one way to find out. Typically, when you go to a new location, you see new characters and glowing based on your sonar of their bodies externally, like a light coming off their bodies or different rays coming off their bodies. When you interact with the character, however, after you first interact with them, it disappears and the shape of their body in the sonar form is shown. But prior to that, it's not shown. So, curious where I have to go. The gods are over here. Ah, new people. It's like this is a good example. Those glowing lights off of them represent you have to interact with these characters. And that might set the stage for a new story, or simply just to add a good indication that you've never been here before. Why it's glowing off. Because once you interact with them, then it will show you that, okay, so you have been here before. So it's a nice way to progress what's going on in the game. Very simple, very easy. To know what you've done before or to know what you've missed before. peaceful game. It's a very peaceful game. So I would recommend it to anyone who just want to kill time um, in the ocean, just to chill. Yeah, it's very much exploration. You could explore as much as you want.